Who hasn't at some point longed to play a space simulator that lets you explore every corner of the universe, taking in sights and wonders that would otherwise be beyond our reach? Since the dawn of gaming, these types of titles have captivated us and served as set pieces of what technology at the time could offer. In the 80s, you had Elite, which used the primitive resources of the time to redefine the definition of what a game was, allowing players to explore a largely procedurally generated set of 8 galaxies, but with hundreds of planets and stations that you could outfit your ship with better and better tech on. Then in the 90s came titles like Wing Commander that took a far more cinematic approach to the genre, seeing you take on specific missions serving as a space fighter pilot, working your way up the ranks in a war with evil cat aliens. Move on to the present, and we still seem to have an infatuation with the subject, as numerous studios have thrown their hat in the ring, attempting to give us their version of the perfect space sim in titles such as No Man's Sky, Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and the upcoming Starfield. Throughout it all, one man seems to have become a recurring figure and controversial legend of sorts in the genre. This man is Chris Roberts, the creator of titles such as Wing Commander and Star Citizen. Today, we're going to look at the legendary game conceived by him that released right in between his 2 other famous titles, and that in my opinion is one of the most captivating takes on the genre that's ever been released. In 2003, after numerous delays and a takeover by Microsoft, Digital Anvil released Freelancer. In this title's universe, mankind had a massive war between 2 mega factions that devastated countless planets and left huge numbers dead. As a last-ditch effort at giving humanity a better existence without war and strife, the people of America, Britain, Germany, Japan, and Spain each sent out a colony ship headed for the Sirius system to start anew. The game picks up around 800 years after this, and says you take the role of Edison Trent, a recent survivor of a terrorist attack on the Freeport 7 space station. Trent was on the station to make a deal of a lifetime that he had his life savings poured into. With the destruction of the station, however, he's left without a ship and without money on the capital planet of the American Liberty System called Manhattan. It's here that he's forced to pick up freelance work with the Liberty military in order to get a ship and to be able to build back the life he lost from scratch. What starts as seemingly routine work turns into anything but that, however, as the foundations of the colonies begin to unravel, and insane, otherworldly conspiracies and plots rock the Sirius system to its core. To survive this 20 or so hour sci-fi epic, you'll need to hone your fighter pilot skills and prepare yourself to brave the dangerous expanses of space. Freelancer, in a way, tries to combine the philosophies of games like Elite and Wing Commander. It sets out to be vast and expansive, with numerous ways to fill your time, be it through trading, building reputation with factions, or upgrading your ship, sort of similar to the Elite model of space sims. At the same time, it also aims at telling a fantastic and action-packed story, filled with twists and turns to rival films you'd see on the silver screen, sort of similar to the Wing Commander model. What you're left with is a game that gets enough of both aspects right to be a truly epic experience for any fan of the genre. To start, I'll touch on the story, which in all honesty was fantastic. This really feels like a fun sci-fi take on a story like Indiana Jones. There's action, intrigue, betrayal, and some minor horror elements mixed in that take you on a journey far more awesome than I ever expected it to be. The voice actors here put in the shifts of a lifetime throughout the huge amount of cutscenes and story moments you'll experience. Meeting every new character and seeing each story beat unfold is worth playing this game for alone, and provide huge driving forces for you to get to explore the expansive web of star systems in the map. While exploring, the other main feature of the game that'll occupy much of your time is the combat. Starting off rather simple, you're given a basic ship and a few laser cannons to take out an array of enemy fighters. By the end of the game, however, you'll be able to unlock everything from flares to mines, torpedoes, and even engine canceling missiles. On top of this, there's tons of different ships you can buy in each system, which all have unique strengths and weaknesses, like having large cargo holds but worse maneuverability, or being more nimble at the expense of some weapon slots. You'll absolutely need every advantage here, as the battles end up being immense, and you'll be tasked with taking down capital ships 100 times your size. For the most part, this stays fun for the duration of the game. Seeing ships spin out and explode in front of you is always a delight, and the huge battles are truly the stuff of fantasies. This isn't to say, however, that there aren't issues I have with it. At times, the battles can become a bit overwhelming and the enemies a bit too bullet spongy, leaving the most efficient method of beating these sections being to cheese some of the fights, like in this clip. Theoretically, you can get through any fight in the game without cheesing, and in cinematic fashion. The main reason why that's less effective, however, is that you'll take massive amounts of damage in some battles. Sometimes 4 or 5 ships will be targeting you at once, and in between volleys of laser cannons will launch mines and missiles at you too. To stay alive, you'll need to make use of shield and hull repairing items that you can only carry so many of at one time. These items are basically your lifeline, and if you run out, you'll find it pretty difficult to take on something like a battleship in any reasonable fashion. In addition, missions can be long and filled with numerous large-scale battles that'll leave you and your ship limping along the nearest repair station by the end. Ships also have really cool damage states where entire wings and guns can be blown off. Sadly for you, however, this means that you can literally have your hard-earned guns blown off the side of your ship if you aren't careful. All this leads to you sometimes not being able to take the most cinematic approach to tough battles, purely because it can be very costly to do so. Again though, this only ended up being a minor gripe to what I otherwise thought was exciting and fun combat. The only other issue I had with Freelancer was that there was some padding involved. At times between missions, you'll be tasked with saving up money by doing combat-related jobs, mining, or being a pirate if you want to take the evil road. These distractions are all really fun and allow you to explore parts of the galaxy that you may not have checked out otherwise. The problem begins, however, when you're needing to complete like 10 of these missions or tasks in a row just to get to the next story beat. I had mixed feelings on this, as on one hand this allows you to save up for new equipment and ships and have extra incentive to explore more of the 50 plus solar systems on offer. On the other hand, however, this can take hours just to progress to the next mission, and every missile and repair item used requires you to replenish them with the money you're supposed to be saving. Luckily, the sheer feeling and experience of seeing every new corner of this world is worth the minor setbacks. When I say this game is vast, I truly mean it. You can see around 53 unique star systems in the game, each with crazy nebulas, dark matter patches, planets, stations, and more to explore. What's additionally impressive is that you can actually land your ship at so many of these locations and see what it's like on the surface too. The game turns into more of a point and click experience when you do this, but it's still fun to see the new music and amazing architecture of each newfound location. Speaking of which, each country's colony has its own themes that heavily affect the culture, architecture, and ship styles present in their home systems. On a Liberty or American planet, you may see massive futuristic skyscrapers stretching up into the clouds. On a Bretonian or British planet, however, you'll see much more Gothic or Industrial Revolution type cities and themes. Different planets and stations will also have merchants that buy and sell various resources, weapons, and ships. Each station will value specific resources more or less depending on how abundant it is in nearby locations. This means you can actually become a merchant of the stars in some ways, taking advantage of price hikes and remote systems for profit. If that doesn't suit you, you can go straight to the source and mine asteroid belts or scrap fields for resources yourself. While more dangerous, this can provide for a much higher profit margin than the alternative. When you get tired of doing an honest day's work, you can even prepare attacks on other ships by disrupting hyperspace trade lanes and stealing an unprepared convoy's cargo in one fell swoop. Once you sell this cargo to a merchant, you can take a look at the local news that's unique for each area you visit, detailing everything from their politics and culture to nearby events like planetary disasters or battles. This world is so detailed in so many aspects that I found myself poring over the in-game info and lore for hours just to see all I could. The soundtrack doesn't miss here either, and sets the tone perfectly for an epic space adventure. Pretty much the entire catalog of music and sound effects is worth a listen, and in particular, I found myself vibing out to so many of the songs on each of the planet's bars. What's truly sad is that this game has become practically abandoned by its owners. You legitimately cannot purchase Freelancer anywhere except in its original disc format. Luckily, the community has kept this gem alive, however, and I'm happy to report that you can download it for free on a number of websites. Amazing mods have also been released too, like the ridiculously extensive HD mod that I use, which for all intensive purposes remasters the game and keeps it looking fantastic. I highly recommend any who end up trying this game to make use of it, and to check out the sea of other fantastic mods and multiplayer servers with new players and content being added to this day. I'll leave the links to all this in the description for anyone interested. Well folks, in an age where we've had plenty of hit or miss space sims, Freelancer stands out despite its age as a true competitor and rival for the title of best in the genre. If you're a sci-fi fan, or even just like a good story, I implore you to play this game right now. For all these reasons and more, I'm giving Freelancer a 9 out of 10.